What's good, YouTube? Today we are back with the first place, the reigning defending national champion from Serbia, Nikola Mitic. Hopefully I didn't murder that last name. And he was playing Fire King Kozmo 60 cards with a Zoo, Ratpier, Whiptail, Fusion sub combo. So this is about all the zoos in the main deck. And then we also see that he was playing multiple engines to get to Invoker to get to a zoo combo. One without having to normal. And of course the other you could just pop with Fire King Island. This is all pretty cool. I like the deck theory behind it. It doesn't look like one giant brick. And it also naturally was strong against grass decks since grass was still legal at this event. So, let's go ahead and get into the deck list, and then he has a lengthy tournament report. 1 Kozmo Dark Eclipser, 1 Kozmo Dark Destroyer, 2 copies of Kozmo Forerunner, 2 Kozmo Landwalker, 3 Kozmo Slip Rider, 1 Delta Shuttle, 1 Dark Lady, 1 Farm Girl, 2 Sword Troopers, 2 Strawmen, 1 Tin Can, 3 Terror Top, 1 Takum Tomborg, 2 Ratpier, 2 Whiptail, sorry for the hype, 3 Balbaboon, 1 copy of Fire King Avatar Yaksha, 1 Fire King Avatar Garunix, 1 copy of Lunalight Black Sheep, 1 Max C, 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, 1 Emergency Teleport, 1 Regeki, 2 Dark Holes, so 3 total field wipes. Remember, Dark Holes actually help a lot in this deck in terms of destroying your own ships and then going back down into your pilots. 2 Zodiac Barrage, not 3, because the engine is relatively small, and you also have so many other ways to get to it. 2 copies of Pot of Desires, 2 Fire King Island, 3 Kozmo Town, 3 Terraforming, 3 Set Rotation. So he really wants to be able to get to his field spells whenever he wants to, and he can give his opponent a pretty dead field spell typically for themselves. 3 Twin Twisters, 1 Fusion Substitute, 1 Cosmojo, and 1 Dimensional Barrier. Man, the synergy, it just feels so right in this deck. The side has 2 Kozmo Dark Planet, 1 Dogoron, 1 Radiant. Remember, this is really great for being able to ram Delta Shuttle into as well as Forerunner, and 1 Kumongous, which is purposely there to ram Landwalker into. 3 copies of Flying Sea, 2 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, 1 Warning, 2 Strikes, another Dimensional Barrier, and Imperial Order in the side deck. The extra has Norden, Daigusto Emerald, Cyber Dragon Infinity with Nova, 1 Break Sword, 1 Totem Bird, Invoker, Hammer Kong, Tigress, Chakanine, 2 Broadbull, 2 Trident, and a Leviair the Sea Dragon. This deck just feels so good, so right. It has so many power cards, power plays, and really solid siding. I have to say, at first when I heard, hey man, I got this deck list, it's Kozmo, my buddy here topped the Nationals, won the Nationals, Serbian Nationals with this. It's crazy. So, let's go ahead and get into his rounds. First round, versus Stun. Really quick games. I opened Twin Twister both games and OTK'd him with Cosmos. The second round was versus True King Dinosaurs. Game 1, he opens Insane with Diagram, 2 Fossil Digs, and I scoop before he can see my extra deck with Litho because I opened subpar, basically masking what he's playing. Game 2, I opened a strong board of Emerald, Trident, Tin Can, and Destroyer, Ghost Ogre, Maxi, along with some other cards. It's an easy win, I would say. And then game 3, he opens with Litho and Lagia, banishing Norden, Invoker, and Trident, but I Kaiju the Lagia and clear the field with Pilot plus Forerunner, and I have Ogre for Diagram the next turn and win from there. Third round versus Zodiac, the guy that got top 8. Game 1 was really long, but in the end he used all of his resources and couldn't manage to grind through my ships. Game 2, as soon as we start, time was announced. He goes first and opens a +5 combo. I have no hand traps or a hand that can handle the advantage that he gets from the game, and we get a draw. Fourth round versus Zodiac, the guy that got first after Swiss. First game, he goes first and opens Zoo Shenanigans, but has no real trap to defend himself. I drop a Dark Hole and OTK him with Island plus Ship plus Town combo. Game 2, he starts doing some zoo stuff, and I max C him, so he ends with Trident, Ram, and sets a card, giving me draw 2. I Kaiju his Ram, and try to Raigeki to OTK him, but my body surprises me as I was trying to play around any real trap in OTK him, but he manages to get in the advantage, and there is 1 minute until time. I didn't want another draw, so I scooped fast to try to win Game 3 since I was going first. Game 3, I opened pretty bad, with only some traps, fusion sub, and a field spell, and he manages to bait strike and order, and wins easily afterwards. 5th round versus Windwitch Invoked Artifact. Game 1, I was still pissed because I brisked last game, but managed to take it cool, and I do Balbaboon, Kozmo, Zoo Shenanigans, and win easy. Game 2, he kind of bricked, and I OTK'd him. 6th round versus Paleo Frog, 60 cards. Game 1, since this is a kind of easy matchup because they have trouble against big ships, I managed to bait his traps and put control on the board and win after some time. Game 2, I managed to drop Eclipser with a few Cosmos engraved, and there's not much he can do. So I finished 4-1-1, managed to squeeze into top 8 as the 8th place. Ooh, I love a comeback story where you're like barely in there and then you start savaging everybody. Top 8 versus Zodiac, the guy who beat me in round 4. Game 1, he opens decent, but I dark hole his board, managed to bait his back row, and OTK him with Island plus Landwalker plus 2 Cosmo Town combos. Game 2, he opens decent again, and I managed to fight back, but his Flying Sea locked me, and he managed to take it. Game 3, I was really hoping not to brick Game 3 against the same guy twice, but it kinda happened. I opened with Sword Trooper and set Fusion Sub with Slip Rider and Ogre in hand, but luckily for me, he bricked as well, and just set 3 and passed. I top decked set rotation and managed to win in the next turn. Top 4 versus Zodiacs. Game 1, he goes first and opens Trident with Hammer Kong and set Strike. I Dark Hold him, summon Terror Top, he strikes, so I follow it up with Island, destroying Slip, bringing Farm Girl, normal summoning Whiptail, and that was enough to OTK him. Game 2, he opens Insane with a +5 combo and ends up with a full field, 3 set traps, and some hand traps as well. I tried to bait Trident and managed to deal with Anti-Spell with Slip Rider, and I then played my Barrage, he flipped some Cosmic Cyclone, and that was enough for me to scoop it up. Game 3, I opened really strong, going Tin Cannon to Lady to play around his hand traps because I followed up with Barrage to do zoo stuff, drawing 2, and using Desires to draw 2 more, so I end up with Lady, Trident, Emerald, Hammer Kong, Set Strike, and 2 Forerunners, Town, and a Flying Sea in hand, and felt pretty confident, but he had some good outs in the form of Cosmic Cyclone, Kaiju Slumber, and normal summoned Ram, and I played Flying Sea hoping he didn't have Barrage as well. Luckily for me, he didn't, and I managed to take control the next turn thanks to Cosmos, and win from there. And the finals was versus PK Fire, 60 cards. So all these guys face so many zoo decks, and the finals happens to be PK Fire versus Cosmos. What? This is like going back a year. This is crazy. Game 1, I was surprised to see this in the finals in a zoo format, but nonetheless, I tried to do my best, so I was forced to go Twin Twister into my Cosmo Town and search DD, because what's DD? Dark Destroyer, because I have set rotation and Balbaboon, so that made me some insane field, and I draw Maxi and Ghost Ogre as well, and I take it easily. Game 2, he bricked hard, opening Raigeki, Dark Hole, and Tachn's on board. 1 Phantom Knight and 1 BA, and he just set a monster and pass. I did Twin Twisters into town again, and searched Dark Destroyer because I had set rotation, and I OTK him that turn. Shoutouts to all my friends that were believing in me, and all my natural Cosmos, since I play them from time to time, and since they first came out, and that helped me play test. So again, Nikola, Mitic, taking Serbian Nationals first place. I asked how many people it was. It was 52 people. 6 rounds and then 3, so 9 rounds total to take first place. Coming in from 8th into Swiss, beating those that beat him. The first place in Swiss. Getting the rematch and taking it all down for a finals against PK Fire. This is insane. The synergy is great. I think it's an awesome story despite being a smaller Nationals, and this is still a national champion, and I think the theories behind it is really good. I remember Simo and I talked at the beginning of the format about Cosmos and what a good call it was for our case tournament. it worked really well for our buddy here, Nikola. Sorry, his friend Marco sent me this, by the way. So shoutouts to Marco Nixick for sending in this report for Nikola. It's just really awesome to see such solid deck building, actually. This is very solid. I did not expect a Kozmo list like this, and it might shake things up going into our Nationals, as we're going to lose the Fusion sub combo for it, so some consistency will go out the door for it. It's still really great deck building, as well as Terror Top, I suppose. But with the 3 Baboons, with so many ways to get to field spells, and a use for set rotation to give them Fire King Island, there's so much that this deck actually just does to play against your opponent, to lock them down, and to OTK. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. By the way, I have updated the Patreon. The Patreon will also have new incentives starting at the $10 mark. You can send cards in to get signed by Billy, Jackie, or myself. And you just have to send me the address on the House of Champs Facebook page. After the first hit will actually go in. Like, Patreon doesn't automatically take people's money. It takes it monthly. So if you do want to, if you don't go to events and you want Billy to sign something, all you have to do is sign up on the Patreon and send return postage, and we will be able to send those cards back to you. Basically, YouTube out of cash. It's been hurting. I think multiple tubers have been stating it, and hopefully we get more advertisements back here as we move forward through YouTube. But like I said, I've been taking it slower. I think people have noticed, but I still want to do it full time. So if it's possible, be sure to check me out there. It's always linked down below in the description.